Hello everyone, Rudy here again. Uh, Second video, not exactly a vlog like I originally intended all this COVID opportunity to be, but thankfully it is still a video, and I hope you're all doing well. I hope you're all keeping safe, and that you're not going on the news or listening to the news too much because that just worries people. Anyway, anyway, uh, to the point, straight to the point. I should probably, you say that this is gonna be pretty much a heavy topic. Not a lot of people like this topic. It's definitely taboo in a lot of places, in most places, but it is still a topic that deserves attention. And so, without further ado, today I'm going to talk about the LGBT community. The LGBT community, this is the part where people usually talk about the history and the everything. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to give my opinions straight up. And if you like them, if you don't like them, then feel free to comment. That's what this whole experience is about, anyway. Excuse me. So, the LGBT community in general, I would say, is very politicized. It is very, very much a movement based on politics, leftist politics, liberal politics, most recently, and communist politics in some, in a lot of circles. But the reason I do all this is because of the timing of the whole election coming up in November, of COVID, of 2020, and I mean, what can we expect just in general? So, LGBT, stands for lesbian, gay, bi, and transsexual individuals. Um, I happen to be the second uh, letter in the alphabet. A lot of people say this is an alphabet soup community, blah, blah, blah. They're very disparaging. A lot of people are very disparaging towards the community that considers itself very, very victimized by the rest of the world. Um, I wouldn't say I consider myself to be much aligned with a lot of the policies, a lot of the. I mean, yeah, under Obama, we had the luck, we had the luck and fortune of being able to marry, and I mean, who doesn't like that, right? But recently, especially with this COVID happening, I've just seen a lot of people's behavior very, very hostile and very, very negative towards people that believe different than the LGBT community as a monolith. I don't mean to sound Republican because I'm not Republican. I don't mean to sound right wing. I don't mean to sound like a hater or a self hater or someone with internalized anti homosexuality. I don't say homophobia, by the way, because it's overused. I mean, I can say it, but I mean, I don't really say it in serious contexts. If you guys understand what I mean, in a debate, you're not gonna say, "Oh, you're homophobic," because that's just a way to shut down discussion. And my purpose in life is not to shut down discussion, but to perpetuate it, perpetuate as much talk as possible. That is the whole point of inventing words. So, the LGBT community. What is okay? I said already that it's leftist. I said already that it's politicized, and in a lot of senses, it's very, very ironic that a lot of the people there treat you with intolerance towards your beliefs. Uh, People that are in the LGBT community and happen to support Trump, our current president of the United States, get treated badly and unfairly. And I think it's a gross, it's it's grossly judgmental and prejudiced. I don't know what the term there would be, but it's just very unfair to people that just want to see a better America, in their mindset, and I think I mean, for the longest time, I I considered I was tolerant towards people that believed that the president of the United States, Trump, was a good role model to follow. I tolerated it. I had Trump followers, Trump supporters on my friends list on Facebook, on in real life, etc. At a certain point, I realized that I just had to say no. I mean, when COVID was happening, first started happening, I should say, the response was just very, very slow, I should say. It was very slow when it comes to Trump as a president. I thought he was very incompetent. And I told everyone on my Facebook, I use my Facebook a lot, and that's the main platform, that's the main place and, just area that I spread my opinions on. I mean, I don't even know if I should share this on YouTube because a lot of people watch, uh, they tend to watch YouTube videos in general, especially now that we're all confined to our houses. But I am a Trump supporter. I am Latino. I am the second letter of the alphabet soup. And I am a third type of minority, which I'm not going to mention because it's not relevant to this discussion. Anyway, the reason I started following Trump was because I realized that I mean, I have a lot of friends here in California that are very liberal. They are very, very left wing, and they're just against a lot of freedoms in general. Not to say that California is anti-freedom. In many senses, it is. In many senses, it is, and in many senses, it isn't. I think it's very harmful if you try to separate yourself from California and you're an American, and it's very harmful if you're a Californian and you try to separate yourself from Trump and the rest of the United States, because we're all one unit. We are all united together. United we stand. And so, my problem initially with Trump was that I thought that he was a racist. Not a racist, but I thought that he was just very discriminatory. He said whatever was on his mind. He had white supremacist followers. He never actually acknowledged them. But the point is, I didn't vote for him because I felt it would be a wasted vote. Fast forward to nowadays, COVID happens, and all I see on the news, or at least on the Facebook news, which is a little bit right wing, I admit, but all I see on the news is that Trump is doing his absolute best to help his American citizens. And that was, the turning point for me. I was going to vote centrist. I am libertarian centrist. I just happen to vote for a president that currently is fighting this pandemic through tooth and nail. There's a lot of false news out there, fake news as it's called. There's a lot of false news out there that's just misinformation, and it's misguiding people. And it doesn't take a genius to separate yourself from all that, but it does take a lot of time and effort to sift through all of the news and sift through all of the discussions and arguments that you find online. I liken this to to a Second Amendment pro-gun movement. I am a huge, huge supporter of the Second Amendment, the right to bear arms. I don't own a gun, but I do like the freedom to be able own one and defend myself in dire circumstances in whatever case is necessary. I have some friends, some transgender friends who are pro to A, and they are very much against Trump, and it kind of creates a sort of confusion in my mind because Trump and his administration has been very much anti-LGBT. It has been very much anti-transgender, and I think you can pretty much, I mean, you can argue against that. You can argue and say, you know what, his team is just trying to do this. You know, there's a bunch of reasons why he's actually not who you think he is, etc. But I don't think you would get too far because his team is right-wing Republican for the most part. But anyway, the point is, I just lost my train of thought. This happens often, audience. But anyway, so back to Trump. I guess I should go back to the LGBT movement, but I was trying to focus on Trump because there's a lot of prejudice, there's a lot of hatred, blind hatred, that goes against people that support Trump. There's a lot of blind hatred and hatred in general that goes against LGBT people that support Trump. My friends that are transgender and that are 2A supporters do not like Trump because of his anti-transgender policies. However, the turning point for me, as I mentioned earlier, was when Trump was, the turning point for me was when Trump made it federally available for everyone to purchase 2A or to purchase guns as essential items. And so at that point, I kind of thought, he's not really anti-2A. He's just, his cronies or his whole establishment around him, his administration, is kind of leading him to enact laws and to do such and such so that, I mean, he has his reasons for doing things. I'm not 100% sure why he does some of the things that he does. I'm not a support Trump 100% type of Trump supporter. I'm just someone who happens to lean center wing, a centrist libertarian who just does not like the options that the Democratic Party has given in the past couple years, and I'm just not going to vote for them this year. So my vote will go to Donald Trump. My vote will go to a president that I believe is doing his absolute best, like I said. And back to the LGBT community, you get a lot of hatred, etc., etc. And I feel that, like, I mean, this is kind of a cliche, but as a Californian who has experienced a lot of discrimination based on the assumption that I am a heterosexual, based on the assumptions that I am a heterosexual, a straight, white passing male who's politically ambiguous, but based on that, I've seen a lot of discrimination against people like the type that I, what's the word in English? That I look like, basically. The type that I represent. So, seeing all that discrimination throughout my life made me kind of support opposite policies, opposite wings, opposite stances in politics. I wouldn't say I'm a Republican, at least I mean, I wouldn't say I'm 100% a red voter, but I mean, to me, Donald Trump in particular, he does not really fit into the left. For sure, he doesn't fit into the left wing, but I don't think he fits into the right wing either. And so that's what makes me see and realize that a lot of stuff that he says is blatantly, blatantly, and just seethingly true. Uh, I don't want to make this video too much about him, but the LGBT community should not, in my opinion, be discriminated against. And people, it goes both ways. People that try to harm the LGBT community should, um, they should be dealt with accordingly. One of the reasons why carrying a gun or carrying in general is advocated for people like myself and people in general, just people that are minorities and they want, to survive. Uh, so the whole idea with the LGBT community, I mean, I'm not trying to talk bad about them, even though a lot of people, a lot of viewers will say that I have already talked bad about them. But it's just the experience. It's just what I have experienced as an individual growing up and in the past couple of months that has determined that I personally do not fit into that camp. I don't fit into that camp. I respect them highly, but I personally, I just don't see myself as continuing with that type of people. I don't know yet if I should continue going to Pride in the summer. I mean, it's canceled now for this year, but I mean, most of the people that I've met in the LGBT community have been, I mean, that are left wing, have been very, very interesting characters, and I don't want to go too in depth with that because I said I wasn't going to hate on anyone, or any group or just anything. But it is very ironic. It is very ironic that a group that professes to be the champion, the leaders in tolerance and moving the movement forward in tolerance, is actually quite the opposite. I align myself with libertarians because I don't see left or right wing as being completely humane or truthful, and I align myself a lot with the Trump establishment, the Trump movement, because there's a lot about him that just reverses a lot of this negativity that I have personally, on a first-hand basis, have experienced. And I'm approaching the 20-minute mark right now, but I just wanted to get my opinion out there, and I mean, hopefully a lot of you, I'm open to debate. I'm not saying like my opinion is firm. I'm not saying I'm a closed-minded individual and that for sure, I'm gonna vote for Donald Trump. I mean, I earlier said that I was gonna vote for him, but COVID is still a thing. We have until November to see how good he does, how well he does, and we have yet to see what he does under all this pressure because, like a volcano, like a sleeping giant, you pressure it enough and it will explode. And I see a lot of sleeping giants around the world. Germany, China, who is no longer a sleeping giant, Germany and America, who's just been ridiculously on top of everything. But I see a lot of opportunity for people to just show their true colors. And I think that Trump is going in the right direction. Hopefully, he doesn't get, you know, sideswiped or just, what's the term? Like, we'll stick with sideswiped. He doesn't get sideswiped with, you know, just something, because he's leading this nation in a great, great way. And I know this was all supposed to be about LGBT community. I made it into a post or a video about Trump, but in order to understand where I stand within the LGBT community, and the LGBT community has given me a lot over the years, a lot to think about. I, despite all that, I think that I find myself the oddball and the black sheep, and I will leave the rest for later. Thank you. Thank you for listening, and have a good day.